Hey folks, it is the Nutty Knife Guy. Before I start this video, I'm just going to let you know, in the summer I may not be making as many videos and I may not be making them as consistently. In the summer I have book signings to go to and trade fairs, and I'm thinking about maybe at the end of the summer and early fall trying to sell some books at county fairs and things. So, and I'm also almost done with a new manuscript that's going to have to be edited and re-edited and revised before it goes to a publisher. So less time for being the Nutty Knife Guy. So after having said all that, just to let you know, I'm going to be doing something a little different today. Instead of reviewing a metal knife, I'm going to be marrying one of these polymer plastic, I guess they call this Grivex or Grivery knives by Cold Steel. I don't have the make and model number of this, but they're pretty easy to find. If I remember correctly, this was about 13 bucks. And this is one of those things that I just kind of bought because I was curious. I bought this one, and I bought kind of a stiletto thing that they have, and I bought the palm dagger version of these polymer ones. For no other reason, I was just very curious about them, and I'm still curious about them. Now, obviously, these things are a little bit controversial because metal detectors are basically worthless on these. There is no metal on this at all, but X-ray machines will pick them up. Now, I in no way advocate taking these in anywhere where it is not permitted for you to have such things, to be armed. But obviously, this is something that if you find yourself in, if a ne'er-do-well found themselves in a non-provincial environment, and he might choose this, but I doubt it. I don't think that there's too many criminals out there that would even know these things exist. Of course, if they watch this, they will. But you know, as a personal protection tool, these are a last ditch. Okay. I really don't know how well they cut firsthand. I've seen some demonstrations where they're fairly effective, not as effective as a metal knife, particularly stabbing, but we'll see. I mean, I am going to treat this as a metal knife and take it and do all my normal testing with it. So, and I'm very curious to see how it holds up. If I break it, again, it's not a big deal. Now, I talked about the illegal, illegitimate use of these things. But legitimate use, if you need something for personal protection, and you're not, and you don't want to carry a large metal knife, and you need something that's very inexpensive, disposable even. If you break it, it's no big deal. That is just something that you can get away, not that you're going to win a fight with, but you can use it to encourage somebody to break off hostilities so you can run, so you can call for help. Something like this might be the way to go. It's very light, again, it's very inexpensive. It won't rust. You don't have to oil it. You don't have to do anything to it. It's just there. Now, this particular one has what in my mind is a particular design flaw. I don't know all of the butterfly knife tricks. I know how to open it like this. just the basic. Now, but I did notice very quickly that because it is serrated on both sides, that when you're opening it like that, you have to be very careful not to do this because it can cut you. It did cut me, just a little bit. just broke the skin because I wasn't flipping it very hard. But that's something you should know if you go with this. Now they have a lot of different ones. Like I said, they make the palm dagger version and or push dagger, and they make like a stiletto thing. They got a lot of different kinds of these things. But if you choose this one, just bear that in mind. It's very easy to flip this open and break the skin. Another attribute for this thing, if you're using it as a personal protection, is it can be used like a Kobutan. It's kind of an impact enhancer if you don't deploy the blade. Now, again, like anything else, these things can be used illegally. But their primary thing is that they can be effective just as a get-away-from-me tool. They're very light and they require absolutely no maintenance. So if you're a person that's not into weapons, you know, you're not into knives, you're not into guns, what are you watching this channel for? But you know, you're not into anything like that. This might be the way to go because it'll work. Not going to cost you a fortune. You don't have to worry about it. But we'll see. So we're going to go through the normal testing and see how this works. Okay, I'm going to back you up here and get this focused on the high-tech testing apparatus, otherwise known as a beat-up old chair. That looks about right. It needs to be centered a little better. Not that way. There we go. Okay, we'll do the drop test. This thing is really light. It's pointy, but I don't know if it's going to stick at all. Now, it is biting, but it just does not have enough weight to really stick. Let's see what hard downwards throws do. Yeah, you know, it doesn't. You put a little zip on it, and it actually bites pretty well for what it is. And it's picking up the chair. Now, it is coming loose when the clasp is coming loose, holds the handles together. Okay, the stabby stab test. Now this one, you can see here, has a really reinforced tip. This thing is really made for piercing. Okay. Having done that, let's go out to the war post. Okay, we are at the war post. We've got the enemy water bottle right where you want them. I'm going to stab first. This thing is most definitely stabbed. And then we'll see what the serrations do against this hard plastic. Well, got stuck in there. Pulling out of my hand, that wasn't good. Well, I think that says enough for a stab. Now, I'm interested to see how the slash will do. And we didn't quite get through. Well, maybe we got a little bit through. We'll try that again. Okay, let's try to stab and rip. Go ahead and drain this out so I can show you what happened here. And you can see penetration is pretty nasty. This is the second stab and rip. So if you can do that, that is a bad day for any lizard man zombie ninja. And none of the serrations broke or rounded off that I can tell. Let's see how it holds up to the wood. Oh, we're not going to do any vampire deterrents or feather sticking because clearly this is not going to do that. Okay. On the edge of this, it was hitting the wood. The serrations are not holding up well. But I don't think Cold Steel thought that some idiot would be out there smacking it up against pressure treated wood. But I am going to preserve the other back of this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to round off this other end, so it's still somewhat useful to me. It will be somewhat useful if I have it lying around, right? Okay. Let's see how some good solid stabs into the woods go. Oh, that hurt. Still more gloves. Okay, the tip is rounding off a little bit from that, but a little file work and that's sharp again. But this would still leave a hole. So go downstairs and I'll give you quick final thoughts. I don't think there's too much more to say, but running my mouth has never been a problem for me. Well, it has, depending on how you look at it. Okay. Yeah. A little adjustment here. You know, me and my professional cinematography. Alright, I'm going to give you a better, more stable look at the blades, and so you can compare the one, the side of the blades, you can compare the one that hit the wood and compare to what didn't. Okay, this is the one that slammed up against the wood, and you can see that's rounded off. But honestly, that still would not be pleasant to get cut. It might not cut deep, but it would still break the skin and hurt. And these are the serrations, and I have to say that doing the stab and rip out like I did, that would be a very not good thing for any ne'er-do-well that was threatening you to the point where you felt you needed to do that. Once it was in, it went through that, it came out of that bottle, slashed out pretty easily. No regular slashes, and then there. It didn't really, I got a little bit of penetration. I'll see if I can find that. Pardon the phone. Whoever it is, it's not that important. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. This right here is how deep the one slash did. And it's not that bad. You can see where it scratched a little bit. Would it break skin? Absolutely. Like I said, I broke skin when I was just playing with it. If you really cut some a lizard man, not zombie ninja, with real intention and power, It would probably cut fairly deep, not as deep as a sharp metal knife, of course. But the thing of it is, I think that the wound there would be jagged and painful and horrible to look at. It would be one of these things that ne'er do well would if you cut somebody, or a lizardman, zombie, ninja, or whatever, somebody that was threatening you to the point where you needed to use that kind of force. I think it could be one of these things where when he looks at that cut, it's going to look much worse than it actually is. That's my opinion. Again, check your local laws, make sure it's legal. Use of deadly force, right? You know, all of that other stuff. I'm not a lawyer, okay? But as a personal protection tool, is it as good as a regular knife, you know, metal knife? No. Would it get you by? Yes, to a degree. As I said, this is not something that you win a fight. And in most cases, especially for civilians, if it's a personal protection issue out in the real world, out on the street, it's not about winning, it's about surviving. Which means getting the guy off of you and disengaging if you can. Or calling for help. Or just making him, okay, my intended victim is not going to be a victim, so I'm going to leave, okay? Work well for that. As I said, you can use it as an impact weapon. It will cut, it will stab. Now this thing, as I think I've demonstrated, will stab like crazy, and all it did was round off the tip going into the war post. Right, and as I said, you take a file, you can have that sharp in a matter of minutes. The serrations actually held up better than I thought they would, and could still even that side could still cut. This could lay somebody open. Potentially. The plastic, that's not a true test of this type of thing because it's plastic against plastic, but it did break the plastic a little bit, so you can kind of extrapolate how much it would do to Lizardman Zombie Ninja flesh. You know, I gotta say, not something that I am going to, you know, carry every day myself for personal protection, but again, if you don't want to carry a real knife, if maybe you can't carry a metal knife for some reason, light, simple to use, no maintenance, very inexpensive. Now that I've done the war post with it, I've actually had this for a long time, and I just was kind of playing with it yesterday, and I said to myself, how would this fare against the war post? But I'm not going to go out and buy another one of these, but I'll take the little stiletto one, and I think that might just go in the glove box, in the car, because it's just one of those things that if nothing else happened, or, you know, it's just something that it is nice to have, might be nice to have there one day, given the chaotic world that we live in. So, that's about it, folks. Like I said, apologies, I'm going to be busy, so my uploads are going to be spotty, but they will continue. I am currently at 452 subscribers. There will be a giveaway at 500. Don't know what this is going to be yet. If you have suggestions, put them in the comments. After 500, my next giveaway won't be till 1,000. I just can't afford to do giveaways every 100 anymore because I'm growing pretty quick. But having said that, I'm going to get a regular knife out for my usual admonishment. Remember to draw your knives only in just purpose, sheathe them only with honor, and remember that without knives life would be dull and pointless. Please like, share, and subscribe if you are a mind to, because it feeds the YouTube algorithm. All hail the algorithm. And with that, I bid you goodbye.